2:22,
Okay.
right at this very, very moment.
Okay,
And
so we can,
I know that some people needed to
yeah,
leave early.
okay,
So I'd like to open up the floor if that's possible
sure.
and let those people
Mhm.
ask you questions and then you can go on
Sure.
as long as you want to. I just
Yeah.
wanted
Amy,
to
you're
give
having
it.
her back, right? Later in April? What's the date in April you're having her back with your meetup?
24th.
The
April 24th.
24th.
Yeah, so
Right.
people should know she'll be back from work experiences.
And
Yeah,
I'll
let's open
have
up, but Catherine's raised her
be
hand here.
different.
And Catherine, nice to have you here from Long Island Meetup Group. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. It's so nice to be here. It's so nice to be with all of you. And thank you so much, Jackie, for your generous time and telling your story. And
You're
it's
welcome.
it's really, it's just so fascinating. And I guess one of my questions would be, at what point do you feel like you were able to make an a change in the way that you viewed your experiences, and how and did that change for you in your life? Like, so like, what did that change for you as far as the way that you were able to be in the world after that?
Oh my. Well, I was a normal child. I wasn't raised in a, I don't know. I was raised in a dysfunctional family, I guess, in a way. My mother was very loving and very kind, but my father was Irish Catholic alcoholic, so um the experiences I had when I was young, I didn't really relate to them so much, as I just kind of put them on the back burner. But then I started having a lot of different experiences, like talking to spirits that would come and visit me, and all my other different experiences. And it just kind of evolved from there into so many different experiences. And it was my whole life has been an experience of challenges and growing and changing and experiencing and growing, and it's just progressed in such a way that I am so happy for all the challenges that I have experienced, because each one of them I can see as a gift. I can feel as a gift that happened to me to expand my awareness, to expand my consciousness, to grow my soul. And I know that that's what's been happening all the way through it. But it's just expanding and expanding and growing outward in so many different directions, because I know each one of us are connected in spirit. We're connected. We're connected souls. There's not one of us that's separate from each other.
Thank you. Beautiful.
And Catherine, what was that term you used instead of alien abduction? What was the word you picked?
Well, I was wondering if the transported would feel
Yeah, I
better.
like that. Transported.
Yes, I like that too. That's beautiful. Thank you for giving that to us.
Oh, my pleasure. Really
Yeah,
nice.
so anyone else? There's 23 of us here. Should encourage any questions, comments. Most people have their cameras off. You could turn on your camera if you want to be recorded. Bear, yeah, you can use the reactions. I should tell people there's a raise hand feature on the bottom right. It says reactions. Click on raise hand. But go ahead, Bear.
Hi, Jackie. I just like to compliment you in that you said this is your first time really bringing stuff out to an audience and whatnot. I think you did an amazing job.
Oh,
But
I appreciate
you
it.
seem very organized and just the way you don't stumble over the ideas and you bring everything forthright right out to people. I think you're quite honest and believable. Not that you shouldn't be, but a lot
Well,
of,
it's authentic.
yeah, a lot of people who don't know themselves well um, don't come off as sort of genuine as you do. And I guess it's, you're a little older, as I am, but you've had the time to put it all together. And I just like to thank you for finally coming out and bringing it to us. And I feel quite privileged for being here and listening. So thank you very much.
I appreciate it, Bear. I really appreciate you saying that, because when I said different things to different people before, I would get this, oh yeah, she must be lying about this, you know. So I just kind of retracted into myself, and Tish and I had so many experiences and conversations with our guides that I just never bothered, you know. There was the small meeting groups that I had, and I did some channeling. I had a real specific channeling experience, so I have done that as well. So it's just expanding. We're all expanding. Yahoo!
Yeah, you make it sound simple, but that's all it is continuing to grow. Yeah, that's
is.
so cool.
Yeah.
I envy you for your journey, but
Thank you.
I'm not that enthused and taking one up myself. I'd like to, but little bits and pieces. I think a lot of it would scare the crap out of me. And you've probably gone through all that yourself over the years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for staying together through. Thank you for staying together through the whole thing. I'll turn off now. Let somebody else go at you. Thanks,
Okay.
I think
Jackie.
Dominic is next.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much, Jackie, for sharing your
Oh,
experience.
you're quite welcome.
It's delightful, and you've been so honest and sincere, and it just rings absolutely true. I've been on, different groups and listening to different YouTube talks of people having experiences with UFOs, and a lot of it has been about abductions versus what did you say, Catherine? You said being transported. That's a much kinder, gentler word. However, I do understand that it's terrifying for people to be abducted, to be taken out of their beds and transported,
Yes.
and not to understand what's going on. It's absolutely terrifying. And so with all of I'm a retired psychotherapist and a book author, and I've spent like 15 years studying this topic. And it's like what I've come to realize or understand after reading hundreds of books and listening to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of testimony of people, is that I think at some point in time, back in the 30s and 40s, that there were various species that visited the earth and connected with our government, Eisenhower particularly, and were wanting to connect with humans through their government and to bring about a transformation of consciousness and a connection between human beings on Earth and various ET species, which have been here all along and visiting Earth from the beginning of our creation. They created us and have been monitoring us and upgrading us for eons of time. But our Earth government rejected several offers made at different times around the 30s and the 40s. And there are also negative ETs who have a different agenda, such as the ones from Aldebaran that connected with the Nazis, and they went off and did their thing. But to me, I think what would you call it? The group of evolved ET races who were monitoring the Earth decided that if the government would not interact with them in a formal, official, a helpful, beneficial, resourceful way, that the ETs were going to go directly to the population. And that's what they've been doing, going directly to the population and connecting, but not just the positive ETs, also negative ETs, because after all, we live in a dualistic universe here on the third dimension. So there's both positive and negative forces. And we're caught up in the middle of it. I think we're caught up in the middle of a cosmic war right now. unbeknownst to many.
Well, yeah, I just want to speak to that just for a moment.
Sure.
From what I have gotten from my guides is that the negative ETs, they were not allowed to come in, although there have been negative ETs that did come in, but we have been protected and isolated for so long. But there have been a few that have come in and have done some pretty serious things.
Right.
So I agree with everything that you've said, you know, that it has happened.
Yeah, and I think
Yes,
that
definitely.
all of the people coming forward and all the UFO groups and everybody sharing their experiences has, as Miguel Mendoza said, we are the disclosure. That's the title of his book. We are the disclosure. He's written several books, but we literally are the disclosure by sharing our experiences and acknowledging and honoring all those various races, because each person has been contacted by a different species. There's the mantis, there's several different species of grays, there's the light beings that you saw and that Mimi saw. There are various different celestial light beings. They're all involved in our evolution right now.
Yes, they are.
Around the planet, and they're operating 24/7 to help us all evolve and recognize that we're not alone in the universe. We never were, and that we've all been all different species over the centuries and centuries and centuries. And as our story comes forth, then there will be a welcoming of the various different ET species in whatever form they show up in, and that there will be a unification process. And it's already happening. And thank you for sharing your experience, because it just expands everyone's shared experience. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. You're quite welcome.
Good group, eh? Catherine, did you have your hand up, or was that from before? Oh.
Yeah, I did have my hand up again. Okay. I'm an experiencer, a contactee, but I don't have any memories of being abducted. Although in my early childhood, I had frozen experiences. And I remember the presence of a being next to me, and I was very afraid because I was raised with a lot of fear around religion and hell and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So, at a young age, I just was terrified of the devil. And so that's what I thought was happening, But, over the years, I opened up also to my mediumship, and that opened a doorway to these beings that have come and visited me a lot. So, it's interesting because I don't know if anybody's ever seen the Saturday Night Live skit where they have, a person who's been abducted, and then the person who's had the contact, you know what I mean? And such a difference in those, in those two initial experiences. But what I'm aware of is, even though there are differences in each person's experience, because my experiences are so unique to my own development, my own understanding, my own individual process, right? So the things that they bring through to me that I understand, that I get, that I laugh at, the synchronicities, all those kinds of things are geared directly to me and my own evolution. And I suspect that that's what's happening with people that have also had the early abduction experiences too. And so, and there's an evolution that happens too, I think, with people that have been abducted, where if they only have a memory of one of the abduction experiences, they can, and they don't want to look into it, or they're not really that interested in it, I think it's harder for them to move forward and evolve than somebody who's had more than one experience and come to like develop an understanding about it. They've done research about this. So are you familiar with the research that's been done about this with Ray Hernandez? And
No.
yeah, I was part of their research study a few years back, and
That's this book right
Oh.
here, Beyond UFOs.
yeah,
We surveyed
Oh.
4,200 people. So you're one of those,
Okay,
Catherine?
so I was one of them too, Catherine. I forgot about that, but that was about 7 or 8 years ago now that
that
they
was
did a really big one.
yeah, that was in
Yeah,
2016. I think that book came out.
yeah.
He's coming out with another book, I think, this year. But yeah, I find it very interesting that, you know, that he had found that even, you know, with people that have abduction experiences, they would be sad if they didn't have their connection with their beings anymore, because there is such a heart connection with them, you know, where they've come to understand what it's really all about. But people that have only had one experience and only remember one, they tend to stay more in that, you know, fear and that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
It does, it
Yeah.
does. Well, yes, go ahead, Bear, yeah.
There you go. When you mentioned that, I remember what Jackie was talking about, and it relates to myself as well. But that's not that important. It's the way that we all relate to this. When you first are introduced to this, often as a child, you don't have anything but the raw information that's coming to you. And you say that what held you back was your relationship with religion, and you sort of held that off. Me, I think I had an experience a year and a half ago where here I saw, and I don't know if it's just through my imagination or whatever, but I was asked a question. I don't know what the question was, but I remember I woke up sweating after this. I said, no, no, I think it was like 3 times. I said no, and I negated it. Right? I didn't want anything to do with it. Now, this is, you know, how old am I now? This was a couple of years ago. And I don't remember ever having anything having happened to me like that before. And I think that's just sort of shows the point that at that time, when you take it on, that you're going to accept what has or is happening to you, it's very important. And I think if we can get over our fears, I think, and I'm ashamed of that I didn't, if we can get over our fears of the newness, and this isn't religion, this is just the reality of what goes on in the universe, of the newness of what goes on, maybe we'd be better to go to places like this and expand, try to expand what we don't know, and really, you know, if we're ever brought up to it, and if I'm ever brought up to an experience like that again, hopefully I'll say yes. I don't know why I said no in the first place, but I did, and I'm sort of kicking myself, but that's my little story anyways. Thanks.
Yes, I agree with you, Bear. I think that most of us have had experiences, but we don't remember them, or we simply just kind of put them behind us or away from us or shove them inside in some way rather than dealing with them, because our whole society has said, oh yeah, and they make jokes about it on TV, and they make jokes about it on the radio, and other people make jokes about it. So we just kind of shove it down. So I agree with you. If you wanted to open up, if you truly wanted to open up, and that goes for anybody here can open up, anybody here can talk to the other side, anybody here can do what you call channel. They say our physical body is not so important. It's our spiritual body, it's our soul that grows. You know, we were just in physicality here and in other places in order to grow who we are. And that is love. That is pure love. I just want to say one thing about this oneness of everybody. I've had a lot of spontaneous experiences, and one experience that I'll just say here is my daughter, my oldest daughter with the 2 sons. This happened maybe about 8 or 9 years ago. I can't remember when, but anyway, she went down to Mexico, and she met a Mexican fella, and he came back. He had been working up in Canada anyway, and she was having all these experiences with him and liking it, and then, but he got a little violent, and I hope she doesn't, well, I guess she'll hear this eventually, but he was not a very nice guy. And she was telling me about this. They eventually broke up and everything. And I went zoom into his body. I didn't know I was going to do this. I was meditating after she was talking to me, and all of a sudden I went right into his body. I became him. I was him. I was not me. I was him. I felt his culture, what he experienced, how afraid he was of quitting to drinking, like he was drinking and doing drugs as well, how afraid he would never be able to overcome that, his culture about women, how he experienced it, his thoughts, everything. I became him. I understood him from the inside out. And I knew that he was so different from my daughter, because each one of us comes here with a unique, special personality from past lives, from different experiences, in order to express what we want for our own learning, and that is about love. So it was really interesting that I did that. And from that, I knew that we were all connected. We're all one, basically, but separated in these little forms, you know, but we're all one. It was really marvelous. And I've had many experiences like that, but I'll do more of that in with Mimi's as well. And I'll be more prepared. I won't have to read it, hopefully.
Oh, you're doing a great job. Dominic's next, but we can keep going as long as you can stand it, Jackie. Sometimes we keep talking for 2 hours after the guest has left too.
Oh, geez.
So Dominic, you're next.
Well, having been a psychotherapist, I had many experiences similar to that, Jackie. I didn't actually go into any of my clients' bodies, but I did have the experience of seeing their life from their eyes and understanding from that perspective,
Yes.
and having compassion for what they were going through. So I've
Mhm.
had those kinds of experiences too. I've actually had images superimposed over the person that I
Yes.
was doing therapy with, and they became a different person in a different time frame.
Mhm.
Yeah, some amazing experiences. But
That's beautiful, Dominic. I agree with you there too.
yeah,
It's so beautiful.
it is. And you just gain such compassion for what people are experiencing in their lifetime.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
A real empath. I know you're an empath, as most of us here are empaths, and we feel other people's feelings and just know what's going on and what's happening with them.
But what I wanted to share is that I've had a little bit different experience in my life, in that I was never abducted, but my sense is that I have been here on a mission,
Mhm.
because I've
Yes.
been visited by a Pleiadian starship, and a scout crew actually came to visit me when I first moved to Sedona. And
Wow.
I have had ongoing experiences of lucid dreaming all of my life, where I've been sent
Mhm.
on missions. I've been in reptilian
Mhm.
ships. I've been in gray starships.
Mhm.
I've been in motherships. I've found myself standing in interstellar space, waving goodbye to a mothership, saying safe passage. So I have these lucid dreams. I call them lucid dreams, but they're experiences of being
Yeah.
in my subtle body and
Mhm.
traveling throughout the cosmos. And I have been sent on missions my whole life to different places on the earth where there's disasters happening, and been sent to different universes and different starships, and I never talked about it before. I didn't even write about it in my book, but it's just something that I experienced, and I just kept it to myself, because if I would mention anything to anybody, they would just like roll their eyes and change the subject about what's the next movie you want to go to, or the next restaurant. And so I just bit my lip, and just keep it to
Mhm.
myself. And so I've never been abducted, but my experience is that I have 2 scoop marks on my left calf, and I have a little knot in my lower back of my calf. And so what I think happened is that I was implanted so that my star family could keep track of me on Earth and make sure that I was safe, and monitor me all the time. And I did have one experience where I was in interstellar space, and I was attacked by a group of very tall white beings with some kind of a ray gun. And luckily my team, whoever they were, whisked me out of there just in the nick of time. And since then, I've been blocked from flying out into the cosmos. I've kept mostly on the Earth plane to keep me safe. But I think I'm being monitored, because every once in a while, I can feel the energy like above me, like an energetic buzz, like I'm being scanned, not close like this, but up above my house, like a spaceship will pass over, and I can feel a little hum and a sound and go through my body, and I go, oh, they're passing by. Hi, guys. So that's a little bit different experience. No abduction experience that, was scary for me or anything. A little bit different. Thank you.
Well, Dominic, your experiences have been really incredible. And I think you should write a book about that if you can. It sounds incredible, really.
Well, we're going to have Dominic on the show and talk about her
Good.
book.
Good.
Hopefully. I wanted to say that as far as the abduction goes, or the transportation, as Catherine called it, goes, it's interesting that Jackie's guide said that they're not doing that anymore. And we have another woman who does, she does Star School, and she was saying that a lot of the stuff that's happening now is just happening when we're in lucid dreams. So no, not necessarily being abducted anymore into ships. I suppose some people are still doing that, but in general, we're being visited we're going in our dream space. We're going to different places in our dream space. When was it that they said that to you, Jackie, that they're not abducting anymore?
That was through Tish, so that would have been 2002, I think.
Okay.
So it was quite a while ago.
Yeah.
And because we create our own realities, I think each person has their own reality. If whatever comes to mind, whatever they focus on, they create, So that could be part of it as well. And I understand what Dominic was saying. My daughter, she's the one that remembers being abducted or transported. But she's the one that's really, really sick. She has 3 very rare genetic disorders. She's very ill. But she remembers going to sleep, and she goes to different accidents and different things throughout the galaxy to help. And it seems like she's more on Earth to help beings on Earth, to help them when they go through accidents and stuff, so she can help them go to the other side. And she remembers doing this in different aspects. She knows she's helping others on Earth, but she doesn't have any particular memory of it. She just knows that that's what she's doing. So each one of us, everybody is here very uniquely, in a very unique way, to experience and express their uniqueness. And I think it's beautiful, no matter what it is. We're all here for this particular reason, and especially at this time, because we are going through a gigantic shift.
Jackie, I want to ask you, you mentioned like Joseph, he referred to the Greys, and you said the Greys said that they're trying out different combinations and they never meant to be harmful, I guess, in their alien transportation, that
Right.
they honor the freedom of choice. This is something that like Jeff also says, like in his book, The Rising, and Ian Holling's been with us many times, and Susie Hansen. Basically, they're saying the same thing, that it's permission has to be sought and has to be given,
Yes.
but they don't impose the will. It's not like a
That's right.
totalitarian dictatorship where they just
Right.
kidnap you or unfairly, but there's some level of permission. So that's very important
Mhm.
distinction, and that you've been told the same thing. I think that's significant.
Yes, and they've said when they've been speaking through me and through Tish as well, that they will never tell us what to do because they will be taking away our freedom of choice. And we must experience this life, the challenges, the goods, the bads, the indifference, the duality of it, in order to grow our spirit and our soul. So they will never tell us what to do, but they'll give us suggestions and they'll give us guidance, and that's all they'll do.
Yeah, kind of behind the scenes. I should mention, I first
Exactly.
discovered you through Bruce Angus in Nanaimo. He's been leading a remote viewing group I've been in since November. And he said he was in this meditative state once and he saw this mantis. And it wasn't until a long time later he met you and you told him, oh, that was a mantis that you saw, because he didn't know what a mantis was. So you're the one that clarified that you actually saw a mantis. I have the highest respect for the mantis. So that really got me interested in you. That was before we met. That was many months ago.
Mhm.
So
So
thank you for
thank
that. Do you remember that insight? Do you remember, I guess
I
it's when you were
do.
living there, right?
Yes, it was when I was living there and I had a small spiritual group. Everywhere I've lived, I've never known anybody. So I put together a little group or whatever I could do. And then it would last maybe 6 weeks, a month, or 3 months. And then I'd be on the move again, and start over again
Wow, because you
forever.
had that effect on him. It's amazing. I wonder if it's part of your karma or the alien agenda with you, that you're moving around a lot. Maybe they didn't want you talking until you're like 77 years old. Like in the past, I guess they
I don't
wanted to
know.
keep this suppressed, and it seems like Jeff's gray elder, she told him, I think around 2016, she told him, okay, you're gonna have to write a book and you have to get this thing called an ISBN number. So this parent from Jeff's experience said the Greys are saying, go and talk about this, write a book and talk about it. But they weren't doing that in the 1960s and 50s,
No. And it's different for everybody because one of my guides, I call him the guide in white because he's always flitting around and he's like a light. And he said to pack lightly because I'll be moving a lot. And that's exactly what happened. But I've also known that you can walk down the street and smile to somebody and just the energy can transform that person in that moment. So it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter whether you write a book. Some are programmed to write a book. Some are supposed to write a book. But everybody's different and nobody's to be pushed aside or said that they're lower than or greater than, because we're all the same. We're all from the same source.
One of the things that I wanted to say, I see you, Catherine, I'll get to you in a sec, is that, I'm also getting on, I'm almost 70 now. And I used to feel like, oh my God, I didn't do anything. I haven't done it.
Yeah.
I haven't done my mission. I haven't,
Doesn't matter.
it's just awful. And I'm a bad person because of it. And the thing is that you get activated when you're supposed to, and that's it. You just get activated when you're supposed to be. I was activated I gave my first interview in 2017, so not so long ago, maybe 5 years ago, and with Miles Johnson for the Basis Project. And I knew that that it was time to open the door at that point. And also things are becoming a lot easier for us now, globally, because of Zoom and because of the little bit of disclosure that they've done in the States, and that this subject is a little bit more open. So I think, a lot of people will start popping up like popcorn, just coming out with their stories, and we will see how many thousands, perhaps even millions of people have been contacted in this way.
Yeah.
And I feel like what you said, that we all have a little piece of the puzzle, a little thing to do.
Mhm.
And when we get activated to do our missions, that's what we're doing, right? We're just putting the puzzle together. And then I love that, you know.
Yeah. Well,
I'm very happy when we discover someone new like you, and we're having another person, Angela, that's coming on very soon in April as well, who's going to tell the story. And of course, Dominic, and I'm just so excited that all of this is coming out.
mhm.
And
And it goes way beyond the abductions or, you know, taking us or experimenting on us. It's so far beyond that. That's just the physicality, but the consciousness is really what counts. And self-love. We need to learn to love ourselves. And they have said so many times about us integrating that self-love within ourselves, and that when we love other people, it's not their love, it's our love that we're giving them. And we have to explore that love for ourselves, within ourselves, because we can't give it to others. And they said it's like a contagion. When you start loving yourself and accepting yourself and being who you truly are and being authentic and real to yourself and forgiving yourself, they said, if you think you have something to forgive, then that just automatically flows out of you, you know. So it's all about self-love, not criticizing yourself, not saying, oh, I should have done, I should have been, could have done. All of that stuff. We have to let go of that stuff and just be the love and accept ourselves for who we are, because we are here on purpose.
yeah, and I do believe that it's also timely, you know, but you can't rush this at all. You
Exactly.
can't decide to
Exactly.
be activated. It's when you are.
Yeah.
Dr. Boylan said that to me years
Mhm.
and years ago, and I said, how do you know when you're being activated? And he said, you'll know. When you're being activated, you know you are. So Catherine, go on.
Oh, wow. You guys, I can like say so much, but I'm going to try to keep it, quick. So, yeah, I feel the same way. I am 58, and this has been going on with me for many years. I had a huge Kundalini awakening in 2007, and they've been preparing me for many years, and I've been preparing, and going through this life process. But I'm getting to a point where, at times I'm thinking I failed at my mission because I didn't get my work out there yet, but I do trust divine timing, and I'm not going to push it. I'm not going to push it when I don't feel it's ready yet, but I'm getting there. I am getting there. I'm working on a book I've been working on since like 2016, when they said they wanted me to write a book. But I just kind of feel like I have to do, first things first before I get, everything out there. But I do trust in divine timing. So I do want to say that. The other thing I wanted to comment on, it was so nice to hear Dominic, you speak about your experiences with the astral and traveling, because I've also encountered many of those type of experiences myself. And I actually, I'm a quantum healing practitioner trained by Dolores Cannon. And I actually went and had a couple sessions myself. And when I had my session, I actually was a totally different being. I was a lion being, and I was traveling with different lion beings, and we were going to different planets, and we were trying to anchor in the light into these planets. And the things they were showing me, just such sadness, because these beings on these different planets would not, they were trusting the dark instead of trusting the light. And it was really it was really sad, you know, in my session, you know, as a lion being, I was like sobbing because I was so upset that they were staying, you know. But you know, and it's interesting because I've had a lot of experiences with lion beings, and I actually have had crafts that have flown over my house. I have video of lion faces in the lights that show up in my trees. So I know I am very connected to them, and the feline beings too. I've had all different types of beings that have shown themselves to me. I have a connection to many different types of beings. So, you know, at one point in 2016, 2017, it was just so many different ones that were coming to me. So like they show up in my mind's eye as I'm waking up. I also channel, so they come through and show, they kind of peek in when I'm channeling. So I see different ones and stuff. But yeah, it just made me really happy to hear, okay, I'm not, you know, the only one that's out there traveling with these different beings and this connection. And I'm really happy to hear, and this is nothing against the guys, but I'm so happy to hear the women speaking, because I would love to get some women on my, you know, as speakers. You know, so far I've had a few men and they're great, they're awesome, but I really want to get the women. You know, I feel like it's our, you know, we're here, you know, and we have something to say too. So I would love to have you guys come and speak on my program if you're interested. I would just love it. And I know the people would love to hear from you too. So thank you.
Now, we noticed that last week. I commented that it was all these women having these experiences, and they're shamanic and contactees, like on last week's meetup, you know.
Wow. Yeah,
Well, the feminine energy is rising,
Yeah.
isn't it?
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
pretty
But
profound.
I really encourage the women to speak out, and I'm happy to hear you guys, your ladies speaking out. So thank you.
Oh, thanks, Catherine.
And
Yeah.
Laura Rex, is this your first time? Laura, join us.
Hi, everyone. It's been really great to listen to all of you speak and share your experiences. I haven't had any alien experiences that I know of, but I love Ancient Aliens. I don't know if any of you watch that show, but it's just
Everybody's
brought
seen
so
it. 13 years now.
it's just like really made me look at the world differently. But I was really glad that Jackie was talking about, you know, her, you know, guides and channeling and angels. And it, when I start to like wonder more about all this, it starts to get a little fuzzy, you know, like I do feel like I have contact with something, but really not sure what that is. Is it a guide? Is it an alien? Is it an angel? Like, is it my imagination? So I think I'm just starting to have these experiences and like really wanting to understand what's going on. So I think it's really great for me to hear all of you share, and like I really got a lot out of you, you know, reading the channeling from through your friend, and then you guys are like openly talking about channeling and stuff. It's like, how do you do that? Like, I want to be able to do that. I do meditate, but those things just don't happen or have not yet happened for me. Anyway, I just wanted to chime in instead of just looking like an observer. I just want to be part of your conversation, and just thank you all for your sharing your experiences.
Thank you so much, Laura.
Oh, yeah, Laura, I
Yeah.
really feel like you're really important to this earth and that you will open up. I really, really feel that if you quit trying, because sometimes you try too hard, and sometimes when you try, you can't do it. So
Mm.
just allow it to be, it'll come in its own time. I really believe that.
Oh, thank you.
The other thing is that, just like what Jackie said, sometimes a smile can absolutely change a person's life. If you smile at someone at the right moment when they're feeling suicidal, or, when they're feeling like, I have to move from this city, I hate it here, or whatever.
Mhm.
So we are really always spreading seeds and spreading light. If
Mhm.
you're a light worker or a light warrior, we're always doing it in every single moment of our lives, and
Yeah.
people do it back to us when we're feeling down. So that's
And
that's
that's
something.
why we need each other, Mimi.
Yeah.
That's why we need each other. We need each other to expand who we are, to practice off of the stuff that we have inside of ourselves are projected onto the other person. The other person projects their stuff onto us, and that's for our own healing. We need each other to help each other grow in different ways, to experience who we are, because self is all there is. It's just the self. We need to grow ourselves, from our experiences with each other. And I'm sure we'll all get there. I have no doubt about that, because we're getting there now.
So Maya has her hand up.
Hello.
Maya? Yeah. Hi.
Greetings. Hi. First time here. You know that, though, I guess. I've had a number of experiences in my life since I was a child, with either UFO sightings or entities. In the dream state where, I'm running missions on both sides. And one I really, it just felt really bad after I woke up from it, because I'm nasty, total nasty, harvesting DNA from colonies and destroying them. And I was proud of my work in the dream. Boy, I was fully immersed, and I was like, oh my gosh, oh yeah, just like we just raided and pillaged and all that stuff. And oh man, except for we met our match, and there were these, it was weird, there was these blue plasma kind of being group or something that tried to attack me. They were not, they weren't harvestable, except for they sacrificed one of themselves. They manifested as a physical being and allowed us to kill that being. It's very weird.
Well, Maya, I can understand you having that experience, and most people will say, oh my God, that's a horrible experience, put it aside, let it go, or whatever. But we live in duality on Earth, and I believe that the whole universe is living in duality as well. And some of us on Earth are born into bodies where we really devastate everything, like we're creators and we're destroyers. We're both. Some are born into Earth and they destroy things so that the others can learn and see all the garbage that is destroyed, that they can then bring into existence in a better way. And that happens on other planets as well, in other galaxies, in other time frames, in other dimensions. It happens. It's for us to learn from.
We've been on both sides of it.
Yeah, don't beat
everybody has.
Don't beat yourself up. Yeah,
So I'm not. It's like that was somebody else. I could have been just merging with somebody else who I wasn't, for all I know. Or
exactly.
and where I've been the goodie too, trying to save people and trying to undermine the baddies and all that stuff, but with big explosions. Oh God, I've had where I've been people after death. A lucid dream. That was an interesting one. It was just weird. There was a bunch of old people who recently died. One very famous actor, I forgot his name. And I was like, wait, does my lucid dream leave me alone, go away? And they were like, no, can I go home?
Well, that's aspects of you they're experiencing.
But I've had these experiences where I I've actually been in like a body that's not human. I've had it, well, once when I was in a computer class at work, and all of a sudden I was bilocated in, I'm still human, yet I was in this other, it was like a small gray body, but they were white skinned. And they were sort of very connected, hive mind-ish, but not fully, I don't know. But it was just weird because I was in the center of a circle and given a mission to come here. And the words were infiltrate and blend in. And I would feel them around me. Other people too. Or they would see me looking like that sometimes. It was very strange. People look at me and go, "Who are you? What are you?" I freak people out. I freaked a number of people out, in fact, during that time. And I would feel like I had companions I couldn't see, and they were asking questions all the time. Very inquisitive. What's this? Why do you do that? And it's all accumulating knowledge and experience. And but that hasn't happened. I've been like that since 1991 because there was an experience where I was with someone and they said, "Oh, they're all around, and you just get out of here." Yeah, I was too much freaked out, the freak out. So I was kind of feeling like, damn, I'm being rejected for this. I felt kind of sorry for myself a little, and then I felt like there was a big craft above. I kept feeling like there was a big presence. I mean, like you could feel it, and I felt like somebody was being pulled out of me, and I thought I was going to go with it, and all of a sudden it was like a ripping and a tearing, and they left, and I was like, "Don't leave me behind." I was in shock for like a day or so after that. I couldn't do a damn thing. I felt like I had a big wound a gaping wound in my gut.
Maya, some people that feel a lot of fear, like we're trying to get rid of fear in our life. We are getting rid of fear in our lives now. And some people who feel a lot of fear may potentially bring in that fear and potentially experience that fear through different dreams, different things that they experience, different experiences. But that doesn't mean to say that your absence of light, because you have the light there to help you. So I would, if I were you, what I'd say is meditate sometime, or just lay on your couch or bed or whatever, and ask the light to please come in and experience that light within you, and the love yourself. That's where you're going, loving yourself. You won't have all those different experiences. You've already had those experiences. Those are aspects of you that are experiencing that from fear and adding to the fear. And you don't have to do that.
I didn't feel afraid. The other person felt afraid. I wasn't really, I just wanted to go where I thought I belonged.
Yeah.
And I just had the feeling of abandonment, It just touched me a little bit. But I've had, but it was, I've had experiences where I've actually piloted a ship too. Another entity. When I was doing a thought experiment in a group meditation, it's like we flicker in and out of reality very fast.
Yes, we do.
So what's when we flicker out, where are we? And so I kind of followed that thread, found myself in another body, and I was like going. It was nighttime. I was jumping, like it was weird. It was like gravity didn't affect me, and the mindset was so different. There was no like thinking verbally. It was very present. It's just hard to describe. There's no stat. It was very peaceful, and I jumped into this craft, into the seat, and then put my hands on its hands on the whatever the armrests, and then the craft took off, and it was spinning like a top, or I was merged with it and whispered. I got a report, I read a couple of reports of people's experiences. One person spotted an entity that was moving just like I'm describing. like a jackrabbit on the moon, exactly like that, looking like a little gray kind of type. And then there was a report that night of a UFO that spun like a top over Japan.
Hmm.
So I also had, you know, experiences. I used to do stuff with Ashtar Command stuff and had experiences as well that were kind of cool. But this is just some of the things that we had, like
Well-
outside contact as well, in New York State. Did a lot of CE5 work, sky watches, and we had contact. It's very cool.
Well, there's aspects of ourselves, and they're all over. We're living other realities as well. This isn't the only reality we're living. We're living many different realities. So that could be aspects bleeding through, coming through, or you could be going over there, you know. I don't know. I don't know. I really couldn't
Well-
say, but I know
well-
aspects of ourselves are all over.
Yes, the Seth material, according to that, we're you know, our oversoul is projecting simultaneously into different
Mhm.
bodies, and you know, we're not just human.
That's
we're
right.
all kinds of things. So
That's
we
right.
can cross over through that into the other bodies, because I've experienced myself as other humans too.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's I would think we go by that, because it's like the hand, like the palm of the hand and many fingers, and you can go via that
Yeah.
into the other. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's not you, and yet it is you at the same time, because you're really your higher self and beyond that. So
Right, yeah.
I have a pet theory that I'm going with at the moment, and that is that the dimensions are actually blending. And that's what a lot of the experiences that people are having, by location, for instance, I've had that, and a lot of people have it. And there seem to be the veil opening between things. So I can relate to the experience that you had where something left you. I had a similar thing when my implant came out. I had a tooth removal, and there was an implant in there, and the doctor showed it to me, and she goes, "Oh, there's your implant." She threw it down the spittoon, and for days afterwards I felt empty. I know exactly what you're talking about, because I felt empty. I felt like, oh, I don't have that connection, and you know. But then
my peeps are gone.
but eventually the connection came back. But I think that implant was something that was really part of me since youth, you know. And yeah, I just wanted to know if you're comfortable with the things that are happening to you. Are you comfortable in daily life, or is this like becoming too much?
Are you talking to Maya? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Maya.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
a long
sure.
time ago. That was in the 90s when that happened.
Mhm.
So I still have weird things. I think I'm being taken up somewhere, because I have sometimes, well, in the past I've had various wounds or bruises or triangular marks, but I have noticed the absence of some things that were giving problems physically that are gone overnight. You know, like wisdom teeth that were impacted, and then I noticed that I have nothing there. or I had was I don't know, a big lump, and it was like, it looked like it was cut out of me overnight again. And I had something on my foot that was hurting me, and one morning I was walking, and oh, no pain. Oh, looks like it was cut. You know, it's what a doctor, yeah, you need a special surgical tool to get rid of it. I'm like, wait a minute, somebody did this to me. I wish they do it again. But something's happening. Absolutely, I know that. And I don't remember yet. Hopefully, I will. I've noticed though that reality is really kind of funny now, because I noticed things changing a lot. Things that were a certain way physically for a long time, and they go back less than a week later, and it's different. It's not enough time for it to change.
Time
But
is
I-
changing.
for quite a bit since the 90s as well. And so I have to roll with it. That's it. It's like, okay, here's the current reality for now. It's gonna change, could change. Anything can change. Yeah, even it makes me think, yeah, even all the rotten stuff that's out could change. It's like, yeah.
Yes, it is changing. Everything is changing, always. Yeah. We don't-
And the rotten stuff is coming to the surface. So
Yes,
that we'll see it
yes.
Oh man.
and start working to get rid of it,
Mm.
right? If we don't see it, if you don't know that there's bad or evil in the world, or that you're doing something wrong or someone, you know, then you can't change it. But once we know that, then we have the obligation to change it.
I change it ourselves first. Because if we can see it, there's something,
Yeah.
I look what's in me that's projecting it first.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's out of love. I do believe that there's some sort of a structure once they become into the alien form. You know, I believe there's structures in each one of them. Like we live on Earth, we have structures on Earth to follow and responsibilities and so on and so forth. And I agree with that. But one thing that the guys have said is that there is no above them or below them, but each is part of the whole. And when they come into this life form, whatever life form they decide to take, then they live within their structures, you know. So I don't know much about the structures of the different types of species, but I know they all have different ways of relating to each other and different structures, depending upon their forms and what their forms need and what they see as pertinent to them. And same with the humans on Earth. You know, we have our different forms and structures and so on and so forth, and what's pertinent to us. We need food to eat, we need money and all of this and that, but we've set that up for ourselves. And they have set up for themselves what they're going to experience in that form of a species, you know. But all of it, there's no greater than less than, you know. There's just these species that will relate to this and will do this, these species that will do this. But I don't see it all as I think there's an agreement between all of them, more than philosophical, like, well, or more of a philosophical agreement, rather than a pertinent structure that they have to do this and they have to do that. You know, I think it's more of them getting together and saying which ones will work on which areas and coming together, you know. I don't know how to explain that.
What's the future? Like, where is it going? Like Jeff describes in the future, maybe hundreds of years, that the Greys, they want this planet, and there's a development of hybrids. There's going to be like a hybrid of Homo sapiens sapiens with the Greys, resulting in beings more telepathic, more quantum dimensional conscious, much more focus on their spiritual life and using technology for their spiritual development. That this is the whole future of the whole planet and all of humanity. This is a time of a new upgrade. I'm just wondering, is that your view too, or do you see it
Part of it
differently?
is my view, yes, and what we've spoken about before, what our guys have spoken about before, is that in the future, in the very near future, there's going to be a movement towards nothing is going to be financial, and all the systems that are breaking down now, because all the systems have to go because they haven't been working for a long time. So we're going to have more like a gathering of people where they decide on who needs what, and it's more of a sharing society that we're going to have. And yeah, technology will be important in that, because each different community is going to have free energy, like they'll have their own little free energetic thing to run their system, but nothing's going to be based on monetary value, like, oh, this person is richer than that one, so they have more of the value, they can do this, they can do that, and this one can't. It's going to be equitable, yes, equal. It'll be totally equitable, and it will be needs first. Whoever needs something, the others will share. It's be a sharing society. And that's all I know for now, but we are getting there. And that's why all the systems now are starting to break down, because they
Yeah.
have to change, and technology is going crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what's, I wonder about like how this relates to our governments. Like we have the World Economic Forum with Klaus Schwab, and they want the Great Reset. And I'm always thinking, well, this is a bad thing. But from an alien point of view, is there, what's good and what's bad? Like how much is bad? I tend to think, oh, these are negative reptilians behind them, but I don't know. And it's probably much more nuanced and complex. I'm wondering if the globalists,
Yeah.
I think the globalists know about the aliens. I think that's quite true. Since at least 1950s, the governments, they know there's some alien agenda and they refuse to discuss it. So I'm just speculating. Do you have any ideas about that?
Not a lot. I know that we on Earth project a lot of our fears based on Earth plane stuff that's happening here onto what the aliens are going to do.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily true, because they said there's no good and there's no bad. There's no right, there's no wrong. It just is. It all just is for our own learning experiences. We create it. We create everything. So basically, that's the basis of everything, is that we're creating it. And right now, we can still create some really negative things. And we have been, because that's the old stuff that's coming up to be looked at and saying, you know, for people getting together and saying, no, this doesn't work anymore. We're going to do it differently. But they don't get involved in this segment of society is ruling this, and this segment is doing that. They don't get involved in that at all, because they say we're creating it as a collective. All of us together are creating it. And so we have to come from love, because if we put fear into anything, we have to damage this, we have to create that, we have to do this, we have to take this apart because it's fear that's prominently there. We can just put love into it and put light. We don't even understand that ourselves, that we're energy. We put light into it, and we understand that this is happening for our own recognition that that has to change, you know, and in order to change it with love, not with fear. That's the basis of their understanding, of my understanding of what they say.
This is good. Yeah, this is profound concepts. Like I think in the media, there's generally a bad rap for the gray aliens in particular. And I think Bud Hopkins and David Jacobs, they were given the bad press. And even Whitley Strieber says now he has a more positive feeling about the aliens. But in his book Communion, it was negative. He said, you know, it was kind of negative in the past, and he's changed around.
Yeah.
So I wonder, there seems to be an agenda to make the grays look bad, but they're better than that. And also when you said there's no good and there's no bad, like Jeff Silver said the same thing. And I always try to qualify, I think on an ordinary level with your neighbor, there's right and wrong and good and bad, you know, don't harm your neighbor. But I think you're talking a more profound level, is kind of a unity consciousness, like Jeff describes it as a unity consciousness.
Absolutely.
I think that's what you mean by no good and no bad, like the karma of the world just playing itself out, I guess. Is that what you mean by?
Exactly. And when we go out and we think we're going to control this or control that or do this or do that, you know, there is a purpose for everything. There is a divine purpose. We're going a certain direction, whether we want to or not.
Yeah, we are.
You know, it's all going to be processed through us. We're processing our own experience, our own realities now. And we can choose whether we want it to see it in a good way or a bad way. You know, we can see it from a positive perspective. And the more we see from a positive perspective, then the more positivity we put into the world. You know, when we put anger into the world, oh, we're angry at this, we're angry at that, you got to do this, you got to do that. Then what we're doing is projecting more of that anger into the world.
And the thing is that, you know, my feeling about the things that are happening is that we really are the creators. So I don't like to think that this being, this type of being or that type of being is doing things to us. I believe that we are calling upon help and that humanity will do it. So that's where we kind of differ, because Brian's philosophy is more towards the grays and my philosophy is more towards a human development. You
Well, I
know,
think they're both very important because they're both aspects of the same source.
yeah,
And they're both really pertinent to what's happening on Earth now. So, not one isn't more conducive to our experiences than the other. They're all really important. Yeah, agree. I just wanted to say that I have to get going here pretty soon.
we will take Maya's call, the last call, and then we'll let you go, Jackie. It's been so
Okay.
great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you,
All
Jackie.
right, well, I really appreciate it, you guys. And it doesn't matter what comes up. It's all for our own experience to explore it. Exploration is what we're doing in order to raise our consciousness. So thank you very much for all of it.
And thank you, Jackie. God
Yeah,
bless
should
you.
have an applause.
Namaste.
Everyone open up
Thank
their-
Yeah, thank you for having this. This was great. I
Well,
was
we-
supposed to go to another meeting at 6 and I just said, I'm gonna- 'cause guys-
The Long Island group, is it a meetup group or just
Yes.
a private?
yeah, it's on Meetup. It's been on Meetup for about almost 6 years now.
What's the
Okay.
name of the group?
It's called UFO ET Experiencers of Long Island.
How many members do you have in your meetup?
I think in my Meetup I have a little over 100 now.
Yeah.
But I expect that it's going to get bigger because, I'm getting out more, on Zoom and things like that, different platforms.
Do
Yeah,
you,
you've
do
reached
you
the
also
next
have
stage.
a YouTube channel?
I'm not that tech savvy, so I'm figuring it out as I go, but I have recorded my my speakers and stuff, and I do have a YouTube channel. It's under my name, but I'm putting it out there. Yeah, I'm in the process of
That's great.
editing and all, you know what I mean? So it's like,
It made a huge difference when I made the channel.
yeah,
And it made a humongous difference because people who were not able to come to the show could just see it, right?
that's what I want to do. I want to
Yeah.
be able to, get it out to people so they can see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll open up a whole bunch of, for people, it'll open up a whole new doorway, I guess. I'm looking for people that are experiencers, that have had, all different types of experiences with the beings, and also like spiritual kind of experiences, because a lot of my experiences have been very connected in with the spiritual realm. So not only have I experienced the beings from different dimensions and planets, I've also experienced masters and guides, angels, and I've had like the oneness experience where I'm, connecting with the all that is. So it's all I feel like it's all inclusive, all of these experiences, it's all part of the one, it's all part of the all. And so, yeah, my experiences, I opened up to my spirit guides. I started to open up mediumistically, and I ended up, in a spiritualist church and sitting weekly in circles, and then started to ask to meet my guides. And so that's how it opened to me. And so, people may see some of my work and think that it's religious. It is not religious, it's spiritual.
Yeah.
And there's a difference, even though, some of these beings that have come to me, they have been on the earth as religious figures, some of them, but they don't come to me with a religion. They come to me with a unity consciousness and the expanded state of awareness, which is, the love of God, of the all, So it's interesting because when you're asking about a hierarchy and whether or not, like the mantis beings are up here and different ones are not, they do not come in that way at all. As a matter of fact, I have a very interesting picture of Mother Mary and a Sasquatch being cheek to cheek. They actually showed up to me in a dream. The Sasquatch beings telepathed something to me, a very simple message. And then the next night I was out in my yard taking pictures, and boom, there they were, like right above my telephone wire that goes across my yard in the backyard, their faces right next to each other. And this is their way of letting me know, like they're all one, these Sasquatch beings are beautiful, heart-centered beings, and they are the guardians of this earth. They've been with the earth since the beginning of time, and they're all connected. Like, they're all connected. So it just, yeah, it's just amazing that